I've been part of, for a short while now, a GBM Survivors and Thrivers, people who've had, or is part of having GBM, or having family of people who, like we are, all trying to look for answers and things that are all going to help us, or to find our way to just to navigate this whole new situation that we find ourselves in. And it's really helpful being part of something a lot more than I realise of people who are part of going through a similar thing. Even though every GBM that they have is different for their own, and their family who are feeling that, who are experiencing this whole world that we're in. It's interesting. It's good being part of hearing that from all of these people, and I really feel something from this. And we had a meeting there. It was the first time like that where I was speaking to a lot of people who who were sharing their situations, and I find really. Personally, I think find that really helpful, because you think, I'm the only one that's going through this, and of course you're not. Lots of people are going through things, and and lots of people different things, and there's no. So it's interesting hearing other people's situation. Well, it's one I'd like to share is this idea of derealisation, which I had seen it somewhere before, but having researched this a little, this makes a lot of sense. And when in asking other people in the group, they were nodding along because they felt the same thing. Derealisation is this idea where derealisation, it's a feeling where reality itself has been shifted, or reality itself isn't quite what it was. So there are times where the best analogy that I came up to was that I shared with a few people that I've nodded with, was where it's a bit like going into a pub in the middle of the daytime and having 3 pints, and then getting a little bit giddy and a little bit not just for being giddy, but everything feels a little bit different because you're a little bit, almost like a little bit drunk. But as you come out back in the daytime, when you shouldn't be having a drink in the daytime, and you're feeling this, I've had 3 pints, I need to kind of keep my mouth quiet and try and pass yourself as just a regularly normal person who's feeling normality like everybody else. That's what a lot of people were nodding along with, and that's what this feels like. So lots of days, most days, it's a feeling of derealisation, and it's it affects what reality feels like, which is a very hard thing to explain to someone unless they feel this, unless they've been through this themselves. Now, derealisation isn't necessarily because of GBM. And people, it can be, I might be getting this wrong, but this can be something people can, going through extreme stress can go through derealisation in the same way. So this could be part of it. But derealisation can be from an extreme stress and make you feel like you're from another world. But equally, if you're like in the Survivors and Thrivers, it can be as a brain damage to the brain, I suppose. It can be because of that, and I think that's a lot of us feel the same way. So what I found real comfort from sharing that idea for everybody, and seeing lots of people nodding away, and yeah, it's a very difficult thing to I always talk about my difficulty with articulating things and working on and practicing, writing and being able to being in a succinct and in a clever way to put things back together again, to reconstruct my thoughts and thinking, but and explanations, but yeah, I don't know. I thought sharing that idea that actually that derealization feeling that maybe some of you might have felt and may feel right now, that actually it seems quite normal, and it can feel quite disconcerting, or it can be quite upsetting, or that you, in a way that you feel like I'm not part of the same as everybody else. I'm not thinking in exactly the same way. Actually, it's okay. We're all thinking the same thing. Yeah, we're all going through this very strange bit together. Yeah. So I mean, aside from sharing that, I did want to say, actually, again, just to repeat that I found and I'm finding it very helpful from people sharing their experiences, even if they're difficult things, or difficult things obviously everybody's going through in their own way, and just listening to each other, I've found a lot from that, and it is very helpful. And the other thing, which I'm not really going to talk about this time, but another time, I'd like to talk about the fact that it's the silent sort of heroes of this real story are actually all the families that are around, that are floating, keeping afloat their families of people. You can see the people with them. These new heroes who don't really get the celebration they quite get, and the recognition that they get, and they're not looking for recognition, and they're not looking for kudos, and they don't want people to be giving them everything that they're not asking for anything for deserving. I can't remember the word, sorry. But seeing, she wouldn't mind me saying that Cheryl is like just a silent hero who does everything. If everybody saw, and everybody else, I can see on the conversation with these other people and other people I've otherwise spoken with, they've been thrown in as much the same kind of way of we've been thrown in the deep ends, and yet they just jump in without any questions, and I love that. I love that so much. It's how amazing some of the people you can see. I've spoken to obviously the people with GBM, but it's hearing the stories or speaking with the partners and families and who are just work thanklessly and not thanklessly because they don't want thanks. It's just the hard work that goes with all of these people. I know I wasn't expecting to say any of those things, but it's the team of people you've got around you, and the family of people, the bravery. I don't like that word very much, but it is a form of bravery. The family and the people around people is staggering. And they're pretty amazing. But yeah, derealisation. It's worth looking at, and rather than feeling like there's something you're just is unique to you, it is a real thing. So don't be scared of it. It's okay. It's just a feeling that we'll all have time to time. If anybody has any questions, I'd like to speak to me at any point. I'm sure there's ways you can separately. Feel free to contact me or any of those things. Okay.